Peace, royalties. Zamira Sky here, and I have a question for all of us, all communities who are supporting Black and Brown lives in a time such as this. Let me just say this for my family that's Puerto Rican. Just know that you count too. You count too. You are a descendant of Africans. So before I get into that whole debate on that, because there is no debate about it, I wanted to say this. Are we canceling certain things? Like, us as a community, we give a lot of our money to, hey Meg, hey sis, us as a community, we give a lot of our money and spend it outside of our communities because that is what we're taught, that is what we're supplied with. And we could say we're given limited things, but I think it's the education of where we put our money at. And so I was thinking, I'm like, are we about to celebrate 4th of July? Like, are we, like, us as a culture, like, are we really about to celebrate 4th of July, but we still don't have the rights and freedoms that it says that we have? Are we still doing that? Or us as a culture, are we coming together to celebrate Juneteenth? And for those who do not know what Juneteenth is, I will put more information in regards to that. But us as a culture, is that what we're doing? And I see a lot of things where it's like, okay, on this day we're blacking out. On this day, we're not spending any money. On this day, we're doing this, that, and the third to create economic power within Black and Brown communities. But my question is this: can you spend a year only shopping Black owned? Do you think you can spend an entire year, 12 months, only shopping Black owned? Hey Zahir, hey Taryn. So I'm asking the community, are we canceling 4th of July? Is that just canceled? Can we never celebrate 4th of July ever again? Even when we get the rights in which we were already supposed to have, can we just choose not to celebrate that anymore? And can we choose to recognize to celebrate Juneteenth? Can we choose to recognize to celebrate certain just historical events and things that have taken place within our communities? Can we choose to celebrate that? And are we still only buying Black? Even people who are not Black and Brown, please know that a way that you can support our communities is buying Black. Did you know that was even a thing? That you can actually buy Black, buyblack.com. I'm not advocating for that site, so I don't know too much about it, but you can buy items from Black owned stores. You don't necessarily have to support the corporations in which we do that are a majority of white, not only oppressors, but supremacy that control those companies. So we're seeing a very different side of what the world is now. Now we're seeing businesses and corporations really stand for or against certain things within all communities, but certain things specifically for Black and Brown communities. We're seeing organizations or jobs really take a stance, but it has to be way more than words. If your job only issues something and they said words, but they didn't create a plan of action, question them. Question them 100%. Question them. Question why they're doing it. Question their ethics. Question their standards. And also ask whether or not they have people on their boards that are Black and Brown. How can you speak for a culture? And I'm saying this with all transparency, and I'm saying it with I'm just saying it with truth. How can you represent a situation that's happening and you're not from that culture? That's like me representing a white man and speaking for a white man, but yet I'm not white and yet I'm not a man. So how can people who are in corporate America really not have any people of color on their boards and still say that they understand, which they might? I mean, and again, this could go back to us saying that we're all educating ourselves and this is something that we're all getting used to. Are we? Because from the moment I was born, I can actually remember the first time a racist act was done against me, and I had no idea it was actually racism. Like, I was just that uneducated. I was just like, oh, maybe they just don't like me. Like, I'm Zamira. Maybe they just don't. But in reality, it had nothing to do with me being Zamira. It had everything to do with my skin color. So I say this to say, 1, are we canceling 4th of July? Number 2, are we only celebrating Juneteenth this year? Number 3, are we only buying Black? Those are the 3 questions I have, and I hope that we can use our minds moving forward and figure out what we're going to advocate for. Are we buying Black? Are we only celebrating Juneteenth? Are we canceling 4th of July? Are we canceling most of these pagan holidays that are set up based off of corporations and consumership? Are we doing things to better our households truly, or are we just following along with whatever happens? These are questions that not only I ask myself, but these are questions that I ask people who are supporting movements, who are just sitting there on the sidelines, who can't be on the front lines. This is what you can do. Buy Black, celebrate Juneteenth, continue to educate yourself on Black and brown culture, continue to educate yourself on white fragileness, continue to educate yourself on just why it's important to represent you as a culture and represent others who are in your culture to be able to create the difference. So it really starts within the household. We see these sick ass challenges that are going on, talking about a George Floyd challenge for people who have bred racist children. But again, hatred is a learned behavior. Hatred is a learned behavior. I repeat for the third time, hatred is a learned behavior, just like all these other behaviors we're seeing right now. So it is up to us, again, to create the change in which we want to see, and that starts within our own households. So get control of your household, get control of the things that you want to be able to create, so you have more self-sufficiency and separate yourself from the masses, so that when you make choices and decisions, it's based on your household and not because you're oppressed, or not because you're this, or not because you're that. So this year, again, for the last time before I sign off, we're celebrating Juneteenth, canceling 4th of July. Apparently this is what we're doing now. You can do whatever you want to do. I know I've never celebrated 4th of July outside of the fact it was my grandma's birthday, which I will celebrate. Juneteenth, a Dune Day festival. I don't know if that's happening. For anyone who knows, who's in Philly and knows about a Dune Day festival is amazing. And I will post more information on that. And we're only buying Black. So for those who, and I can't say I'm disciplined enough to only buy Black. I'm being 100% real with you. This is me coming from me. Coming from you, coming from everybody. I don't know if I can be 100% disciplined in only buying Black, but guess what? 98% of the things that I buy will officially now be Black. The rest will, fall into that weird 2% based on the resources and lack of things that we may have that are actually in the Black community. So buy Black, celebrate Juneteenth, celebrate a Dun Day, celebrate anyone who has a Black and brown business or a Black owned business that basically needs help at this time. So I love you. Stay blessed. If you're protesting, be safe. I'm going to go live later to talk about the things that you need to look for when you're protesting to ensure that it doesn't go violent. And when it starts going violent, that's when you need to exit left. That's the first thing I said. That's rule number 1 I said. Protect yourself. Put that face mask on yourself before you're helping others. So realize you're royalty. You're blessed. I love you. See you.